Sophie, what happened?
I think there's something here that's not meant to be.
In the chilling aftermath of the first encounter with the demonic nun Valak, terror looms once more over the tranquil town of France. The quiet, Gothic architecture conceals a sinister presence that preys on the innocent and corrupt alike. The nun immerses audiences into a world where faith is tested, darkness is relentless, and the thin line between the sacred and the profane is brutally shattered. The story promises to escalate the horror of its predecessor, exploring deeper the origins of the malevolent force while thrusting characters into nightmarish trials that leave no one untouched. Shadows are longer, fear is more intimate, and the terror is more psychological, ensuring that every corner of the screen carries the weight of dread. Returning to lead the investigation into these unholy occurrences is Sister Irene, whose faith has been both a shield and a source of torment. She navigates through a landscape tainted by evil, a labyrinthine world where the past and the present collide with terrifying intensity. Sister Irene's unwavering resolve becomes a beacon, yet even her strength is challenged by the insidious nature of Valak, whose influence extends beyond the convent walls. The film introduces new clergy members, inquisitive townsfolk, and unsuspecting victims whose lives intertwine with sinister forces, amplifying the stakes. Each character adds a layer of suspense, their fears and secrets interweaving with the demon's malevolent presence. The ensemble cast delivers a captivating performance that elevates the horror to a palpable reality. Tessa Farmiga returns as Sister Irene, bringing a haunting vulnerability and determined resilience that anchor the story. Accompanying her is Jonas Blake, reprising his role as French detective Father Burke, whose analytical mind and haunted past create a tension-filled dynamic with the nun. New additions to the cast include a mysterious priest with a murky history and a local historian whose knowledge of ancient rituals reveals the horrifying depth of Valak's malevolence. Each actor brings authenticity to the terror, grounding supernatural horror in human emotion, which intensifies the audience's investment in their fates. The plot unfolds across an ominous landscape that juxtaposes serene beauty with creeping menace. The story begins in the shadows of an abandoned abbey, where a series of inexplicable deaths has prompted a call for divine intervention. As Sister Irene arrives, the once peaceful grounds are steeped in an eerie silence, broken only by the whispering echoes of unseen entities. The camera lingers on Gothic arches, candlelit corridors, and crumbling statues, setting a mood that blends architectural splendor with imminent threat. The demon Valak manifests sporadically, often glimpsed in fleeting, disorienting frames that hint at its shape, yet conceal it enough to keep viewers on edge. Its eyes, black voids of hatred, seem to penetrate the soul, instilling dread without a single word. The narrative expands beyond the abbey as the demon's influence spreads through the surrounding town. Ordinary places, a chapel, a school, a market, become arenas of terror, transforming the mundane into instruments of fear. Victims report hallucinations, violent outbursts, and impossible visions that suggest Valak's power extends into dreams and memories. Sister Irene and her allies begin to uncover cryptic symbols etched into walls, ancient manuscripts detailing sacrilegious rituals, and accounts of previous encounters with demonic forces. The packing escalates as each discovery brings them closer to confronting Valak, but also deeper into danger. Tension builds incrementally, blending suspenseful silence with sudden, jarring shocks that define the film's horror aesthetic. A recurring theme is the battle between faith and fear. Sister Irene's spiritual strength is constantly tested, forcing her to confront doubts and personal guilt. The villain's attacks are both physical and psychological, exploiting insecurities, past traumas, and hidden sins. Scenes depict her in prayer, seeking divine guidance, juxtaposed with moments of overwhelming terror as she faces hallucinations so vivid they blur the line between reality and nightmare. The film uses lighting masterfully. Shafts of candlelight illuminate her face just as unseen forces lurk in darkness, creating a visual metaphor for the ongoing struggle between light and shadow. The interplay of sound and silence heightens the immersion, with distant whispers, sudden screams, and discordant church bells punctuating moments of tension. Valak is portrayed with meticulous attention to horror detail. Its presence is both understated and overwhelming, often arriving silently in the periphery before fully revealing itself. The costume design accentuates its ghostly and unnatural aura. The traditional nun habit is distorted, fabric flowing in impossible ways, shadowed contours giving the impression of movement even in stillness. Makeup and special effects amplify its inhuman features: sharp, elongated fingers, a face that shifts subtly to convey malice, and eyes that burn with unnatural light. The demon's interactions with the environment are equally eerie: objects moving without touch, doors slamming closed, and cold wind following its path, creating a sense of an omnipresent, unstoppable force. The film explores not just physical terror, but the psychological impact on those who confront evil. The town's inhabitants are depicted with layered complexity, ranging from devout believers to skeptics, each reacting differently to the supernatural events. Family relationships strain under the weight of fear, friendships fracture, and alliances are tested. The script integrates these interpersonal dynamics with the horror narrative, emphasizing that evil doesn't just manifest in external attacks, but also in the erosion of trust, hope, and morality. Characters must make impossible decisions, balancing survival with integrity, often in situations where the cost of failure is devastating. The cinematography intensifies the storytelling, using tight, claustrophobic shots to amplify suspense and wide, sweeping angles to contrast with moments of isolation. The director skillfully employs slow pans down dark hallways, sudden zooms to capture fleeting glimpses of Valak, and mirrored reflections that distort reality. These techniques, combined with a haunting score of low, resonant tones and abrupt crescendos, create a relentless sense of unease. The audience is guided through the narrative in a way that fosters empathy for the characters' plight while maintaining a constant undercurrent of fear, never allowing for complacency. Action sequences are strategically interwoven with moments of pure suspense. Sister Irene engages in confrontations with possessed individuals, confronts manifestations of Valak in shifting realities, and participates in exorcisms that are both ritualistic and visceral. Each encounter is choreographed to maximize tension, incorporating practical effects and visual tricks to create a sense of unpredictability. These scenes are punctuated by heart-stopping moments, falling chandeliers, collapsing staircases, and demonic apparitions emerging from shadows that blend traditional horror with supernatural spectacle. The careful packing ensures that moments of high intensity are counterbalanced by periods of quiet dread, allowing tension to accumulate organically. The screenplay delves into the mythology of the demon, offering glimpses into its origins and motivations. Ancient texts and secret confessions reveal Valak's history, suggesting a centuries-long presence that has manipulated humans and influenced events across generations. These revelations deepen the horror, transforming Valak from a mere antagonist into a representation of an omnipresent, ancient evil. The narrative suggests that the battle against Valak is not a singular confrontation, but part of a continuous struggle, amplifying the stakes and imbuing the story with a sense of existential dread. Historical and religious symbolism enrich the narrative, creating layers of meaning that reward attentive viewers and enhance the film's thematic depth. Character development remains central, with secondary figures gaining significant arcs. The historian uncovers her family's historical connection to Valak, forcing her to reconcile loyalty, heritage, and personal survival. Father Burke confronts his past failures in previous exorcisms, grappling with guilt and seeking redemption. These arcs intersect with the main narrative, ensuring that each character's choices have meaningful consequences. Emotional resonance amplifies the horror, as the audience invests in the characters, successes, and fears, making each perilous encounter more impactful. The trailer for The Nun II emphasizes these themes with rapid, tension-filled cuts that highlight the visual and auditory terror. It opens with slow, eerie shots of the abbey and surrounding town, transitioning to flickering candles, shadows that move independently, and distant, chilling screams. Quick cuts reveal Sister Irene in moments of vulnerability, juxtaposed with terrifying apparitions of Valak emerging from darkness. Music swells in discordant crescendos, aligning with sudden visual shocks that include possessed villagers, flying objects, and spectral hands reaching from the shadows. Every frame is designed to evoke an instinctive, gut-level reaction, combining psychological horror with supernatural spectacle. Dialogue in the trailer is sparse but impactful. Phrases such as "It's here again," whispered in panic, and "Faith is your only shield," spoken with urgency, set the stakes and hint at internal conflict. The minimal dialogue emphasizes tension over exposition, allowing visual storytelling and sound design to dominate. Moments of silence are equally powerful, creating anticipation and amplifying the impact of sudden scares. The interplay between spoken word and silence underscores the film's exploration of faith, fear, and the struggle against malevolent forces. The climax of the trailer teases a confrontation that promises intensity and unpredictability. Scenes depict Sister Irene and her allies facing off against Valak in the heart of the abbey, candlelight flickering across stone walls, shadows dancing in unnatural ways. The demon is shown manipulating reality, bending corridors, and appearing simultaneously in multiple places, heightening the sense of helplessness and disorientation. The tension escalates with close-ups of terrified expressions, rapid cuts between action and reaction, and a crescendo of musical and visual chaos that suggests a battle where neither the sacred nor the profane is safe. Visual effects are utilized to create a sense of awe and horror. Ethereal glows, shadow manipulation, and spectral distortions make Valak's presence tangible yet otherworldly. The filmmakers employ practical effects, such as tilting walls and floating objects, combined with CGI enhancements to create a seamless and immersive nightmare environment. These effects maintain a balance between realism and supernatural terror, ensuring that the audience is never removed from the stakes while still experiencing the full force of the demon's malevolence. The release date sets anticipation at a peak, promising the film's arrival in theaters on insert release date, just in time for audiences seeking a full-scale horror experience. Marketing materials highlight the return of key cast members, the escalation of terror, and the deeper exploration of the series' mythology. Trailers, posters, and promotional interviews emphasize that The Nun II is not just a sequel, but an expansion of the horror universe, offering both new scares and continuity with the events of the original film. Fans of the franchise are promised a journey that combines suspense, psychological complexity, and supernatural horror at an unprecedented level. The trailer concludes with a chilling final sequence. Valak's presence is omnipresent, its eyes glowing red, shadows stretching across walls, and a distorted, echoing laugh reverberating through the abbey. Sister Irene is shown kneeling in prayer, the candlelight flickering violently as the camera closes in on her determined expression. A sudden, jarring sound, metal scraping, glass shattering, cuts to black, leaving the audience with a lingering sense of dread. The screen remains dark for several seconds before the title card appears. The Nun II. The accompanying tagline, "Evil Returns," punctuates the ominous promise of horror to come, leaving viewers both terrified and eager for the cinematic experience. Ultimately, The Nun II blends traditional horror elements with modern cinematic techniques, exploring psychological tension, supernatural terror, and human resilience. Every frame, sound effect, and plot twist is designed to immerse audiences in a narrative where darkness is pervasive and survival demands courage, faith, and cunning. With a talented cast, compelling storyline, and meticulously crafted visual and auditory elements, the film promises to be a landmark in horror cinema. The trailer encapsulates this vision, offering glimpses of the terror, suspense, and drama that await, setting the stage for a cinematic experience that is as emotionally gripping as it is terrifying.